Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is James. I was scrolling through my YouTube feed the other day and I saw this video from Pat where he's doing the AI challenge, where he's trying to build a app completely using AI and he's not stopping until he reaches 100K. And I thought I would join in on that. Except I'm going to change it a little bit. Instead of aiming for 100K, I'm going to aim for just 10K, which is just a little bit more manageable because 100K is a lot. So the rules are, I have to build an app using AI only, and I cannot stop until I've reached $10,000 in revenue from the app. I have to document absolutely everything that I do on here, on this YouTube channel, and absolutely no secret projects or side things that I do off camera or anything like that. Everything I do has to be documented here, from building it to marketing it to advertising to whatever I have to do to get people to use the app has to be documented here. And I can only use AI tools to build the app. That's Cursor or Windsurf or ChatGPT or whatever I want to use, I can use it, but I cannot do anything myself. I have to use the AI tools to do this. I am going to be posting a video every single Friday on the work that I've done for that week on this app. So every Friday evening, I'm going to post a video on this channel and you can follow along with exactly what I've done for that week on this app. But let's jump into what I'm actually thinking about making here. So I do have an idea for the app that I want to do, and my idea is not exactly something that is going to appeal to a whole lot of people. It's very, very specific, very, very niche, but I think that's what makes it a really good idea, because there's no one else that I know that's doing this kind of software, and I know it's a problem because I have to do this. So if you work in privacy or security, you might need to fill out assessments that either you are sending out to businesses or you are receiving from businesses to start working with them. That's just going to be to get information about your privacy and security practices so that your company or the other company that you're trying to work with, they know your privacy and security practices so they can be compliant with privacy laws and they can be sure that their data is secure and that privacy and security is taken seriously. If you are a tech company, you might be receiving a bunch of these. If you are just any big company, you're probably sending out and receiving lots of these all the time, and they take a lot of time to complete. And sometimes you may have to complete them yourself for a company that isn't willing to complete them, and they just send you to their trust center and say, here's all our information. You can go find all the answers to your questions here. And because it's a compliance thing, you need to go and sift through all their documentation to go and find all the information that you might need to complete your assessment of that company. All right, so that's the background. That's the problem, that it takes a lot of time to fill in these assessments, either if you're receiving them from companies and you have to go and fill them in, or if you're sending them and the company won't fill them in for you, they send you to a trust center and then you have to go find the answers to each and every one of these. It's just a time-consuming exercise, and obviously if you have privacy and security people who cost a lot of money to have in your business, that just costs a lot of money in their time to go and fill out these forms. So what is my idea? What am I going to make? I'm going to make AI assessment automation tool. So what I'm thinking here is that you're going to be able to create an assessment in the platform. When you reach out to a company and they say, sorry, we're not willing to fill out your assessments for you, we'll send you to our trust center. Here's all the links that you need. Here's some documentation or whatever. You'll take that documentation, you'll upload it into the app, and then the AI is going to sift through that and find the answer to each one of your questions, and then fill in the answer, and then reference where it found that answer as well. So you can just go and download the answers to the assessments. Now, obviously you can do that the reverse as well. If someone sends you an assessment, we just want to be able to upload the questions into the system so that it will make the assessment. And then we can have all our own security and privacy documentation uploaded as well, so that then we can just do the same and just fill that out and send it back. So it'll save you tons of time. It'll save the people who have to fill out these assessments tons of time, because the AI is going to go and fill out that assessment for them based on the information. And we're going to find it in those documents that we upload, reference where it found, and then give it in a format with that they can, then the person can go and upload it into the system that they use, or however they're going to use that information. We just got to give it to them in a form that they can use it. So we're building an AI automation, assessment automation tool. We need to be able to build forms. We need the ability to create a vendor, because we'll have to create the vendor and then we'll have to apply the form to them and then upload the documents into that vendor. And then obviously get the answers to the questions that we ask. So we need the ability to build forms. We need the ability to create a vendor. We need to be able to upload documents to the vendor. We need to be able to upload, our own company documents. We need to be able to download completed assessments. We need to be able to download completed assessments. We need to upload assessment questions. We need to be able to upload assessment questions. If we receive assessments from a vendor, we will need to be able to upload those into the system, and then from our own company documents, complete that assessment. I think that's it. So we're making an AI assessment automation tool. We need the ability to build forms. We need the ability to create a vendor. We need to upload documents to the vendor. We need to upload documents to our own company. We need AI integration to review the documents. All right, I think that's it. I think that's all we need from what are we going to make. That's basically the most basic of functionality that we need, because that's what will get us to an MVP. Okay, so what tech are we going to use? Only AI build tools. Cursor, Windsurf, Bolts, whatever I'm going to use, I can only use AI tools to build it. I'm going to deploy this via Firebase so that I can use Google Cloud as well. Firebase and Google Cloud. I'm going to use Google login and username, password in Firebase. I'm going to use Google Secret Manager for any of the APIs that we need. We're going to need an API for OpenAI, maybe if we use OpenAI, and we're going to use Google Secret Manager to manage those APIs. I'm going to build the full app before we think about domains or names or anything like that. If I come across a cool name during the build process, then that'll be cool. If you've got a cool name, if you see this and you're like, hey, that's a cool name, I've got a cool name for that, you can drop that in the comments and I will, if anyone's got a cool idea, I will make that the name of this app. So only once we have the name and we've done all of that stuff, all the way like near the end of the build of this, then we'll go and register that domain once we know that. So we'll use Google Secret Manager for that. We'll use Google login. we'll use functions in Firebase and so on like that. So we won't get too much into that, but what are we going to do here is we're going to build the app using AI tools, and we're going to deploy to Firebase and use Google Cloud as our deployment for this. This is week 1, day 2 of the 10K challenge, and it's probably the only extra day this week that I'm going to get to. And today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking my idea and I'm going to be putting it into several different AI coding platforms to create a look for the dashboard of the app. And then we're going to choose which one is best, and then from there going to start building. So I have a few open here. I have Bolt, I have VO, I have Replit, and then I have CopyCoder, which I'm going to put the prompts into, and then I'm going to take those and I'm going to put them straight into Cursor and see what Cursor can do automatically. So I'm going to give them all the same prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy out what I'm going to make here. Just copy that. Let's start off with Bolt. Okay, we're just going to start off with that. Something simple, just outline exactly what we're going to put into the app, which we outlined earlier, yesterday. And then we're also going just to tell it it's a SaaS. So we'll start this one off. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to start all the other ones as well, so that we can see what happens. Okay, now we just wait to see what happens. All right, so Replit has already created the visual outline of what it will be able to create for us. This isn't interactive because it's Replit. It creates this visual preview beforehand, and then after the visual preview, you can actually go and interact with the dashboard. So we're going to let that finish, and we're just going to come to VO and see how that's doing. That is still busy, and Bolt is also still busy. So we're going to let them all finish, and then we're going to preview each of them and see where it goes. This will be our initial design. It'll change as we're going, and it'll become different, and maybe I'll change the whole thing completely, but it's good to see what the different platforms are, how they're actually designing it, and we can take features and design elements from each of those and start working them into our prompts to get the perfect design that we actually want. So what we can see is that Bolt has finished with its design, and it's actually very similar to Replit. So we look at the Replit design and we look at the Bolt design together. They're actually really similar. I think that Bolt does a little bit better at sort of finalizing things and making it look a little bit cleaner, but in essence they're pretty much the same. Now let's see what VO does. We didn't give it a very advanced prompt. We didn't tell it anything that we wanted it to do. So this is just going on what it knows, basically, and what like the default would be when generating this. So what we can see here is how will we improve that? What features do we actually want? CopyCoder, obviously this is slightly different because this is going to create a prompt for us that we're going to put into Cursor. So what it's done is it's given us all the pages that we would want based on our prompt, and we're just gonna go through. So we're gonna give it a theme. So let's choose this theme over here. That looks pretty good. Or this one here. That one looks great. All right, let's give it a theme, and then we can download the project files. All right, so we'll get the project files. What I will do is I will just open them in a folder and then open them in Cursor. So let me place them into a folder quick. Is you get a zipped folder, and in that zipped folder, you get just a few files. So you get the layout, the dashboard, a setup, and the theme file, and that's basically all you need. So what you do is then you open it inside of Cursor and you ask Cursor to run the setup file. It'll go read that, and that setup file basically tells Cursor exactly what to do and how to build the app that Copycoder has given us. All right, so we'll go do that now in Cursor. But before we do that, let's close Copycoder here. Let's go back to Bolt. Okay, Bolt is finished. Let's have a look at what VO has done. So this is quite a lot cleaner, sort of a little bit, I would say like modern. I don't know what you would call that, but I would call it a little bit more modern. Let's have a look. Let's just flick through the pages here. It seems that Replit is actually still building for us. So we're gonna let's leave that. We can see the pages here. Okay, great. So what we're gonna do now is just pull in Cursor. So what I'm just gonna open the project in Cursor, and then I'll bring it over. Okay, so in Cursor, I've opened up the file here, and what we've got is, we can see we've got the layout, the dashboard, the setup, and the theme file. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to tag the setup file. I'm going to ask Cursor to run at setup. There we go. So we're going to ask it just to run the setup file. We can click enter. It's going to go there. It's going to start reading and start building everything it needs for that. So you can see it's identified it needs to be a Next.js app. So it's going to make everything that it needs, and it's going to create temporary files, and it's going to install all the dependencies that it needs, and so on. So when you're doing this, you do need to make sure that you watch, because it is going to ask you for prompts. So you need to actually confirm things. So we're just going to make sure we're in here. We can say yes and just let it go through and install what it needs and do what it needs to do. While that's running, we can come back here, and we said we're going to go to Replit. All right, Replit is actually still busy with this form builder. We did ask it to use dummy text, like dummy things, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe it's trying to do something more. Let's go back to Cursor and see what's happening inside Cursor. Okay, what we can see is it's created everything it needs to create and installed things, and now it's just going to... It's going through to install the look, basically. And once we've installed that, we're just going to change the look with the theme file. So we'll let this run. Once it's completely run, we'll change it, because then it's going to change the look that we initially asked for in the Copycoder setup. Okay, now we can actually see that it's starting to write the actual code to go into the app. Okay, let's just ask it to run at theme and then send that. All right, what we can do now is it's just going to tell us a bunch of things. Let's open the terminal. Sorry, what we're going to do is I forgot that we need to implement the layout and the dashboard. Layout, implement layout. Let's see what it does here. Okay, so we can see it's now creating the header component. And seems to be putting them all in the same file. Yeah. All right. Okay, it seems to be done with that. So the next thing we're going to do is just ask it to run the dashboard. There we go. So now this should set up the dashboard page for us. Okay, it looks like everything has been done. So we've gone through the layout, the dashboard, the setup, and the theme. So what we should be able to do now is run npm run dev. And let's see if we can have a look at what it did. Here we go. Okay, so this is the dashboard. We've got it's only the dashboard page. Obviously, everything else is going to be blank because we haven't asked it to set up anything else. But we now have, I'm going to keep that to the side. Okay, so now we have the dashboard from Bolt, which looks like this. We've got a dashboard, a little bit colorful here, settings, logout, sort of few other features here, forms, vendors, documents, assessments, AI review. That's going to have to change, but that's not what we're doing now. Now we're just having a look at like what it looks like, how it feels. So VO, this is what they created for us. So a little bit of a different look here. It looks maybe a little bit more professional, which might be good. So we've got vendors, assessments. We've got form builder, documents, AI review, analytics, and then a settings page over here. This maybe looks a little bit more professional. Then we've got what Replit has produced here, which I think is quite similar to what Bolt produced, really. Some of the things are off. We are squashing the page a little bit. If we opened up the page a little bit, it might look a little bit different. Let's actually do that. Can we remove this? Yeah, we can. There we go. All right, so that looks a little bit better without it being so squashed. So we've got the same. We've got dashboard, vendors, assessments, form builder, documents. Oh, we have an error. That's okay though. We don't need to worry about that. There we go. Okay, so very much the same, I would say, as Replit. Bolt and Replit, pretty much the same. And then we've got the dashboard that was produced with the copy coder prompts inside of Cursor. So this is what it is. I think what's quite nice here is we've got a little bit of an interactive charts over there. Also, I would say maybe a little bit more professional than the Bolt and the Replit one, but I don't know if it's quite as professional as VO. Why don't you leave a comment below and tell me which is your favorite one, and we can go from there. Once I know what your thoughts are, and I'm going to have a think about this, I'm going to start building it out, and in the next episode, which is next week Friday, we'll actually start taking this code. We will be using Cursor, and we'll start actually building it out and actually putting some functionality to what we have, the look and feel that we have here. We're moving elements, putting things in that we need based on the outcome that we want. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this, and join me next week as I move to the next stage of building this SaaS application. Thank you so much for watching.